she was shamed for her skin, until his richest rival took her in. Amara Wilson stood nervously on the train platform, her suitcase beside her and hope in her heart. She had traveled for 3 weeks, all based on letters full of warmth and promises from a man named Harold Pierce. Today, she was finally meeting him, planning to begin a new life. But the look on Harold's face when he saw her was not what she hoped for. "You're Amara?" he asked, eyes wide and voice shocked. He looked around, clearly uncomfortable. This isn't going to work. You didn't say you were black." Amara stood speechless as Harold backed away, holding a bouquet that now seemed useless in his trembling hand. "You wrote so well," he said. "I imagined someone else." "You never asked," Amara replied softly, holding back her hurt. People on the platform were staring. Amara, a well-dressed black woman, being rejected in public by a white man, had quickly become a spectacle. "I can pay for your ticket back," Harold said nervously. "You seem educated. I'm sure you'll understand." Before Amara could answer, a deep voice interrupted him. "Is that your solution, Pierce? Throw money at her and pretend it never happened?" Both turned. A tall man stood there confidently, dressed simply but clearly from wealth. He was Alexander Maxwell, one of the wealthiest landowners in the area. "This isn't your business, Maxwell," Harold muttered. "It is," Alexander replied calmly. "When I see a man I've known for 15 years show such cowardice, I speak up." Alexander turned to Amara. "Miss Wilson, I'm Alexander Maxwell. I live just outside of town. You're welcome to stay at my home until you decide what to do next. We have a room, and the housekeeper would be glad to have someone to talk to." Harold went pale. "You can't be serious. What will people say?" "I'd love to hear what they'd say," Alexander answered. Harold said no more. Alexander's estate was not a regular farm. It was a beautiful mansion surrounded by fields, pastures, and stables. Amara, though impressed, stayed guarded. She had learned to be careful with kindness. Inside, the housekeeper, Mrs. Foster, welcomed her with warmth and respect. At dinner, Alexander shared stories about his life. His family had supported equality and justice, and he brought those values with him to Riverbrook. Amara told part of her story too. She had been a teacher in Boston. When the school for girls of color closed, she looked for a new beginning. What she didn't mention was the hidden gift in her luggage, her grandfather's inheritance, old land documents saved over years that could change everything in Riverbrook. In the days that followed, Amara studied the documents in the library on Alexander's estate. It was full of books and legal records. She wasn't just reading. She was looking for truth, one that would soon shake the town. Soon, news of Amara staying at Maxwell Mansion spread through the town. Some neighbors visited the estate, not out of kindness, but out of curiosity. Amara smiled politely through their looks and comments. Then Harold Pierce showed up. Nervous and awkward, he claimed the town was concerned for her well-being. He offered help to send her back to Boston. "I'm staying," Amara said calmly. "Mr. Maxwell has offered me work, helping with the estate's library," Harold protested. "You don't know anyone here. You have no position." "I do now," she replied, her voice steady. What Harold didn't know was that the records in the library had helped Amara uncover the truth. Her great-grandfather, Joseph Freeman, once owned most of the Riverbrook area. After he was forced out by violence, the land was stolen by the same families who now ran the town, including the Pierces. 2 weeks later, Amara and Alexander walked into Riverbrook's town hall. Alexander spoke clearly. "Miss Wilson isn't here as my guest. She's the legal representative of a matter that concerns us all." Amara presented the documents, original land deeds, letters, and proof. The room grew quiet. She had the papers that proved Joseph Freeman's ownership. People tried to deny it, called it fake, unlikely, but everything was verified. When Pierce tried to shout her down, Amara stood tall. "I didn't come here for revenge," she said. "I'm offering a fair solution, a fund for the town to help with education, housing, and community growth." Despite anger and confusion, the town agreed. 6 months later, Riverbrook was already changing. The Freeman Foundation was helping local families. Harold Pierce had moved away, his reputation ruined after the truth came out. His store had become the town's new library, where stories like Joseph Freeman's were finally being shared. Amara and Alexander grew close and later married quietly. Their home became a community center for events, learning, and healing. One afternoon, watching children play in the garden, Alexander said, "You could have taken everything. No one would have blamed you." "But this," Amara replied, "this gives back more." What started as public rejection turned into a powerful legacy of justice. And all of it began with a woman who refused to shrink after being looked down on, who instead stood taller until the whole town had to look up and listen. Amara Wilson didn't just change her life, she changed history.